Johnson along with Ty Davis-Price in the offensive backfield. Johnson looking left, throwing towards the end zone. One-on-one. Kayshon Boutte has it. He's in. Touchdown, Fighting Tigers. Hey now.
Hello and welcome into Tigers Roar. I am Jonathan Poche, joined by Buddy Songy here at Old School Barbecue, 10655 Coursey Boulevard. The hottest new barbecue place in Baton Rouge. Come try the brisket, the ribs, the chicken, the sausage, and of course those homemade sides. It's all delicious here at Old School Barbecue. Jumping right into it, you will notice the Budman and myself both are wearing their shades for their first segment. Of course, that's from LSU's loss this past weekend to the Auburn Tigers. 24-19 was the final. LSU found their way to the red zone, but only converted one touchdown. Cade York was busy kicking 4 for 4 field goals, but you saw in the opening clip, Kayshon Boutte catches a single touchdown that Max Johnson threw against the Auburn Tigers. This marks the first game in Max Johnson's young career. He did not throw for 3 touchdowns, and LSU certainly could have used it. A lot of question marks on the offensive side of football, starting with the post-game press conference from Max Johnson saying there was a lot of trouble getting plays called. The check with me is not working as it should. The timeout out of the change of possession, Budman, in my opinion, was the worst sign of the times for me in that game. LSU still no running game to be found. Their offensive line struggled to protect Max Johnson. The defense did not record a sack. Max Johnson did throw an interception on the last play of the game, but had a lead. Couldn't milk the clock, Bud, man. It was really sign that LSU was not called to run in the game. And in the middle of the third quarter, you could tell this team was perfectly fine with not running the ball at all. They were perfectly fine sitting with passing plays every single down, putting the game totally in Max Johnson's hands. And really, you got to tip your hat to that young man. He's been very productive in a situation that a lot of quarterbacks would not be. Welcome in the Bud, man, on this Wednesday evening. How are you, sir?
Yeah, good to see you. Hope everybody doing well. By the way, wearing the pink shirt tonight. October, of course, is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, so I'm donning the pink. We are donning the sunglasses. It's a tradition for me when LSU loses a football game to don the sunglasses. And I said, let's be Belushi and the Blues Brothers today. So we got the Blues because the Tigers tinkled one away and should have won. They're 3-2 now and facing a Kentucky team and crowd that is trying to do something that they have not done since 1950, which is start the season 6-0. Hope everybody doing well out there. Thank the good Lord the rain has subsided and quit. Now I'm starting to feel a little bit about football. And here it is, JP, to talk about how quickly it goes by. After this weekend, folks, we're 50% done with the regular season. Oh, by the way, first time since 1999 that LSU did not beat Auburn in Tiger Stadium. I'm watching the first quarter and a half, and I'm going like, man, LSU came out. They had the scripted plays. They had the hurry up. They had Auburn all flustered. Harsin was looking like he was in Brook Trout land. Bo Nix didn't want any part. T.J. Finley didn't have the answer. And LSU could not put the squeeze and finish this thing. This thing should have been done after the first half, but inexplicably, LSU did not make the plays inside the red zone, had a lot of woulda, coulda, shoulda plays in this game. I've got a lot of stats to tell you about that tell some stories. But it is spicy in Baton Rouge, and let's be honest, you always hear the old adage, where there's smoke, there's fire. As I'm walking up to Old School Barbecue, folks, I can smell the smoke. And I don't know if that was Ogeron smoke or Kayshon Boutte smoke or whatever, but lo and behold, we know that the Tigers have put themselves in a precarious situation, and we'll get into all of those things, some of the things that have been bandied about here in the last 24 to 48 hours. But I used to always say this many years ago, JP, when I was on. LSU should never lose to Kentucky in football. And this is the old days when Kentucky would say, hey, Kentucky should never lose to LSU in basketball, and those things have flipped. But this is going to be – come on, Bill, come get your damn cell phone. This is going to be a very excited, sold-out crowd at Kroger Field, and they are going to want some purple and gold blood come Saturday night on the SEC Network. You think the Tigers are going to win? I think this is going to be a tough game because Kentucky is appreciably better at the line of scrimmage.
Certainly will be a tough game. Look, LSU is 16-1 under Coach Ed Ogeron after a loss. They lost last year, 2020, to A&M and Alabama in consecutive games. It's the only time it's happened. Coach Joe certainly owned it this past week. In the Monday press conference, he said, look, it's on me. The buck stops with me. Point the blame at me. And I certainly appreciate that sentiment. It helps a lot of LSU fans that are really upset with Coach O when somebody admits, yeah, no kidding, it's you. Like, we get it. We understand that you hired the guy in Jake Peetz that's calling the plays and can't get the play to Max Johnson in the huddle in time where he has to keep burning timeouts to avoid delay of game penalties. And I think when Coach O came out and made that public statement where he took completely 100% of the blame, and a lot of it does fall on Coach O, but for LSU fans, I think that kind of changed their aim with their frustration from Coach O shifted it to Jake Peetz. And look, a first-time play caller, you thought he was going to kind of get in a rhythm. Did not look good against UCLA. They thought they were going to change some things, change tempo, do a lot of warp, what they call the hurry-up offense, the no-huddle. But look, this check with me every single time Max Johnson gets to the line. They're looking back at the sidelines. They get a play. They change it. Max Johnson then has to change his protections. He looks up at the clock. There's 2 or 3 seconds. You're putting your quarterback in a position to fail in that situation. Despite not having a run game, you have got to have a play call ready on your play sheet for a change of possession. In this day and age with television timeouts and everything going home with the guy with the red hat, you have multiple minutes after a change of possession to know what play you're going to call. To have to burn a timeout to avoid a delay of game, that's poor preparation. That's terrible, bud, man.
Yeah, and look, I was just kidding with Bill. I was kind of acting like Coach O. You know, we're responsible for the content of this show, but sometimes from a technical standpoint, you know, we have a faux pas. Well, there's a lot of technical standpoints and problems going on in that booth, but here's the deal. He's getting $8 million a year. Coaches have to, figure out the problem, but they got to be smart enough to come up with a solution. And let me tell you this, JP, the offensive line continues to get pushed back, especially in the center. We were talking about it today. What would a middle screen be like? LSU, remember the days of Charles Scott when they dump it off to Charles Scott right at the line of scrimmage and the middle screen, and he'd run for 10, 15 years, not trying any of that, not throwing to the backs out the backfield. But I'll tell you this is Coach O's responsibility. Yeah. And I would not let him call a play in at 5 seconds. I'd say, hey, we're going to go hurry up, no huddle. We're going to get to the line of scrimmage. You're going to call a play because with the running back moving around, with all the motion, you need at least 8 to 10 seconds to get everybody. And if you get something with 5 seconds left on the play clock, you got to call timeout. So it's been a real mess, and anytime you settle for field goals instead of making touchdowns and you're kicking field goals, that is always a bad omen. If you watch that replay and you see LSU dominate the first quarter and a half and you fall asleep, you wake up and it's a nightmare when you got to watch the rest of the tape. And, oh, by the way, I have confirmed that Popeye came down from the Auburn fan base, and Bo Nix was able to inhale some spinach because they couldn't get this kid down. And once he started making play after play, he felt it. He even gave the finger to the crowd. I mean, folks, the last time Auburn beat LSU in Tiger Stadium was 1999. This was a tough one to let slip away, JP. You
mentioned Bo Nix, and that guy, you have to tip your hat. He was benched in the game previous. TJ Finley, of course, came in. There was questions on this television program who was going to play or the most. Obviously, Bo Nix had an outstanding game, an outstanding fourth quarter. I mean, the guy makes 3 phenomenal highlight. If he was going to win the Heisman, this would be his Heisman moments against LSU. I mean, he's scrambling all around, looking like Johnny Manziel.
Yeah.
And without those 3 plays, Bud, man, LSU wins the football game. I mean, you have to tip your hat. This kid did what he had to do to win the football game, got it done in a hostile environment. LSU was packed. Those fans were rowdy. Some folks did start leaving towards the end of the game, but, I mean, needless to say, he did what had to be done to win the game. And when you let teams hang around, you keep kicking field goals, not scoring touchdowns in the red zone, they become confident, they get their juices going, and their defense bails them out. So, yeah, they're going to go get points. But the reason I believe that they do have a shot against Kentucky comes off a huge win against Florida. Okay, 16-1 under Ed Orgeron after a loss. Mm-hmm. And if we thought the Auburn game was a must-win, Coach O better do his best cheerleading of Coach O's life for this game coming up in Lexington. Because if they don't win this upcoming game, we're having a whole different conversation next week on this program.
Yeah, no doubt about it. There is a lot of pressure. There's a lot of smoke and fire. And who knows what's going to happen. I have been a strong proponent that I don't think that Coach O should get fired during the season. I thought that he deserved to get through this thing. But, man, after watching that cluster frick of a 10-minute press conference on Monday, you can tell that the wheels have fallen off. And it's sad because you sit there and how many times do we repeat this? All of you out there, you little kids or whatever, it's not how much success you have. It's how much you can handle. And unfortunately, JP, from the night of January 13th, 2020 to now here, just 18, 19 months later, this program has dropped.
Yep.
And, you know, it used to be that a national championship got you a honeymoon for 3 or 4 years. I don't hear any honeymoon talk right now, and it's a shame because the O-line has set them up to where they've got some problems, but you've got 2 first-time coordinators, Jake Peets and Durante Jones, and I looked at the stats, and there's a couple of real issues that I have right now. The first one is, how many points you think LSU has given up in the first quarter in the first 5 games? First quarter, how many points they given up in the first quarter, first 5 games?
I don't know.
7.
Wow.
They've outscored the opponent in the first quarter, the second quarter, the third quarter. And once LSU gets tired, conditioning, and once adjustments have to be made, as we said, Madonna's singing like a virgin, calling plays for the very first time.
Yep.
They're not making the adjustments. Derek Mason ate up Jake Peets for lunch, dinner, brunch, and dessert in that second half.
Yep.
And they're just not finishing out. It drives me crazy to see so many guys that were that close to Bo Nix, and LSU did not finish one of those plays. They had 0 sacks. But I'm worried about the conditioning. I'm worried about how much that they've got overweight guys playing. And, I mean, didn't you notice it? Oh, by the way, you know how I was going crazy about giving up 88 plays on defense? That's part of the reason they're getting tired.
Yep.
LSU has averaged having the ball in each game 3 minutes less a game. They're getting it, the opponent, for 31.5. LSU's holding on to it for 28.5. And when you give the ball to the team more, 88 plays on defense, now that second half, it wears that defense down. Look, I'm not blaming anybody. It's a combination thing here. But I hope you're right. I just don't know if they have enough physical snot-knocker thumpers that are going to stand up, because Kentucky's got Rodriguez, who's a good running back. Dare Rosenthal has fit nicely at left tackle. Yep. They're going to run the football. They're going to put pressure on Max Johnson. They're not sexy. They didn't even have 300 yards against Florida. But you are correct. They could be a letdown. But, man, when you can accomplish something that you haven't done in 71 years, I think this is going to be a great crowd and a loud crowd. And I hope LSU brings their best game and goes fast. But be aggressive. You're fighting for your job. Act like it and go for it when you get a chance. Not punt on the 41-yard line.
We have a whole lot more here on Tigers Roar. We're going to take our first break of the program. We come back, we'll talk more LSU and Auburn. And they just set up for LSU, Kentucky. Don't go anywhere. He's the Bud Man. I'm JP, and you're watching Tigers Roar.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology, which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
The all-new 22 Civic, now on sale at Team Honda on Seagan Lane.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystoneCountryClub.com.
We continue on Tigers Roar here from Old School Barbecue. That's 10655 Coursey Boulevard. Terry in the back cooking up all the delicious meats. Of course, we have Bill behind the bar fixing cold drinks. Come spend some time with Marty, our floor director.
You love to give that New Orleans Marty. I'll just tell you this. I love Marty and the interaction he has with Clarence Buggs on a daily basis. And, yeah, man, I got to be honest with you. I really smelled it. I wish we had smell-o-vision going out to everybody, because when you smoke the meats the way we do, you want to smell it before you come in here and enjoy it. And so, once again, 10655 Coursey Boulevard. We've got music from time to time. And, listen, I got to bring Terry some of that Manda spicy sausage, because, boy, it's been spicy on all the social media sites. And a lot of people are now intimating that this game is very important for the future. You and I were talking off the break. Of course, we turned our sunglasses off for the rest of the show. Part of me thinks that Coach O deserves to get to the end of the year. But you mentioned it at the beginning. You can't just keep saying, I'm responsible. You got to do something about it. So I asked this question on the radio, and I'll ask you, and then we'll go to the highlights. Does LSU have a situation this weekend where they don't get to play in on time, and you see the clock, you see Max Johnson, and he's going like this, and he's going like this, and 5, 4, 3, and Coach O's got a timeout because they don't have the play call or they get a 5-yard penalty. Does that happen again Saturday night?
I certainly hope not. If it does happen, you will see the camera shift to Coach O for a good 10 minutes of explosion on the sidelines. That's something that cannot continue to happen, and Coach O knows this. Either you fix the check with me or you kill it altogether. You run the plays. You script the first 15 to start the game. You script the first 15 at halftime. That's what you have to do. And look, everybody kind of laughs at these NFL guys who have like the big, Waffle House play charts.
Yeah.
Sean Payton has a play for every situation during the game. Not only one, but like multiple, 4 at the least of every situation in the game. That's why he is one of the best play callers in the NFL. He preps all week for these situations, and he knows exactly what he's going to call in the situation, not really depending on who lines up across from you on defense. That's where the check with me kind of gets you. When they're substituting on defense, okay, you want to call the perfect play against this defensive look. Auburn switched the whole game plan in the second half. They were only rushing 2 guys, dropping
2
9.
and 3, yeah.
You haven't prepared for that all week. You're not just going to magically find your perfect play in the play chart. You call a play, you stick with it, and if you execute it, you're going to get positive yards. Look, LSU is talented. Max Johnson has done a lot with a little.
16 touchdowns, only 4 INTs. Anybody knows 4-to-1 touchdown to INT ratio is pretty good. But let's not give Sean Payton a lot of credit. He broke his pencil on Sunday, and after LSU let a 19-10 lead go to a loss, he loses an OT and blows a 21-10 lead. So, man, can you imagine how many messages I got about this not to lose and sitting on it? Sean Payton's a great play caller when he's in the mood. But sometimes I think he's got a menstrual cycle like a lot of people.
Well, we have highlights from this past weekend, LSU, Auburn. We'll actually try to go ahead and roll those. But, man, it started off, everybody was in a great mood. The fans are back. They're tailgating. It's going to be Auburn, LSU in Death Valley. Auburn hadn't won since 1999. Yet the paratrooper dropping in, got everybody fired up. USA,
How
USA.
Cool is that, huh?
That is an awesome shot. And, I mean, how they don't crash when they land always amazes me. I mean, the guys so talented at coming down with a parachute. Here's LSU running out the tunnel. Everybody was fired up for the game. Bands on the field. Max Johnson starts it off well. Final number 1, who is absolutely the best wide receiver in the nation.
Yeah, he leads the country with 9 touchdown receptions. Kayshon Boutte has caught a touchdown in 7 consecutive games, and of course had 4 balls in this first drive. And once again, he just knows how to shake and bake. You'll see a little bit to Jack Besh. Those are 2 right now that by far the best 2 receivers on this football team. Here's Boutte again, once again on a quick slant.
This sets up the touchdown to Boutte. This play was in our opening clip. Perfect throw right here from Max Johnson. Actually dropped it in a bucket. I didn't know watching it live how good of a throw it was. I was just like, how did he catch that? But absolutely perfect throw.
And they had doubled him on that. As you can see, you only need 1 foot in college, remember. But he was in with both feet, and it's 7-0. Here's Max once again scrambling to get a first down. I'm trying to remember, did they give a bad mark on that? I can't remember if they did.
I think they did. Mark
I think they had a bad mark, but Cade York, 16 consecutive field goals made, 8 for 8 this year. And here we go with another first down, as that is to Jeray Jenkins.
Jack Besh, the freshman wide receiver / spread tight end, led the team with 7 receptions. There's number 80 right there. He had 84 yards, but Kayshon Boutte, 6 catches, 127, and he had that touchdown.
It's all LSU right now, JP.
These are all the LSU highlights.
And here we go, another field goal.
Yeah, we're not going to show any Auburn highlights in this montage. Keep things light. We already took the sunglasses off. No need to get into a bad mood. We know what happened on the field. Here it is. LSU has a 13-10 lead. And you kind of just got the feeling that things are starting to slow down for the Tigers. There's a good completion right here to the sidelines, Boutte again. But 13-10 after you're up by 13. LSU did not run the ball at all when they had to lead in the fourth quarter, which is mind-boggling, to steal a phrase from TK. I mean, didn't call your first run play, so you had already lost the lead. Your fourth possession in the fourth quarter. That cannot happen, bud, man.
Well, the boss man, Alan Traylor, in the truck, as always, running the stuff perfectly. And lo and behold, here's a blocked field goal for LSU, so they're happy with that. But Corey Kiner's averaging 5.2 yards per carry. AT is, and here we go with Corey Kiner right now. Why isn't he starting? What the heck is wrong with the LSU coaches? They haven't realized that number 21 deserves to start Saturday night. Come on, guys.
Kiner had 5 carries for 22 yards, had some momentum, got a couple touches in a row. Started to do things that never touched the ball again. LSU, 29 rushing yards on the night. I mean, in the fourth quarter, you're better off just kneeling the ball 3 times, taking time off the clock, and then punting away.
Well, of course, that was skewed again a little bit because, once again, there was an errant snap, and they lost about 15 to 20 yards on that. Here is Cade York once again, and it is 19-10 LSU. But you could almost sense right here, as we're talking about, once again, not being able to finish these plays with Bo Nix.
Yeah, Bo Nix put on a Superman cape in the fourth quarter, had 2 phenomenal plays on fourth down. LSU Tigers flying all around his feet, trying to get hands on him. BJ Ozolari, Ali Gay, they'll tell you they were in position to make plays. They just couldn't corral young Bo Nix.
Yeah, and as most of you know, LSU ran the football one time in the fourth quarter. It is driving people crazy that you can't have a running game. And JP, I think the reason people are frustrated with Coach O is that, look, we all know that he hired Matt Canada, and those guys didn't fry fish, and that was a quick divorce. Similar to Jake Peets, we're hearing rumors and overtures and innuendos that they aren't getting along. But Jake is trying. The game is just too fast for Jake Peets right now. And I would say, okay, Jake, this is the way we're going to play it this week. You call the play, and that's what we're sticking with. Now, if there's an audible to be made, it's going to be by Max Johnson, because you're not sending in a play with 5, 6, or 7 seconds left. It's just not feasible to get it off without the delay of game penalty. But, use your tight end. And here's another thing that drives everybody crazy. They threw the ball a little swing pass to Corey Kiner on first down early in the game, picked up 4 yards. Okay? Did you see it again?
Never went back to it.
Never went back to it. Everybody in the country, college and pro, is throwing to the backside of backfield, but your LSU Tigers are scared to do it and don't want to do it and can't do it and refuse to do it. I don't know, when you go to Football 101 in 2021, why you don't throw the ball to your backs out of the backfield. If you can't execute a screen, do the middle screen. That's as easy as it gets. And with all that push that the offensive, defensive line, the opposition is putting on them, drop it over them and use the screens and the dinks and dunks and make them get punished by their ability to put pressure and be aggressive. And that, right, I think, is the other thing that people are looking for. They want to see a little more aggression from LSU, both offensively and defensively.
And look, this is not the rain on Jake Peets parade. I mean, a lot of the blame does go to the coaching staff, but this offensive line, bud, man, has not done their job. There is talent in that running back room, but they have nowhere to go. And you can't single out one lineman. None of them are playing good. I mean, it's kind of crazy. You got Ed Ingram and Chasen Hines played a lot of football for LSU. Yeah, we've had a revolving door at the left tackle. You can't really single anybody out. LSU doesn't like any one player there. They keep switching them up. They're not sticking with one. It starts in the trenches. You hear coaches say it all the time. You have to recruit. You have to recruit talented linemen, keep them in the program, and they have to execute on Saturdays. And none of that has happened in recent memory for LSU.
And here's another thing that comes back to bite the coach in the rear end. He said early on in fall camp and at SEC Media Days, offensive line, what our strength this year. He said it. But he also said last year in 2020 that the defense was playing better than at any time in 2019. I remember Les Miles, and I hate to go back to Les because that brings a lot of bad memories for some people, although he did win a championship and played in another. He said the same thing, JP. This is the best offensive line I've ever had. They gave up 39 sacks this year, that particular year. Now, LSU still is up there with 20 sacks. They've given up 11, so it's not bad. That's a little over 2 a game. But I think we get back to this red zone play calling, getting the play in time, playing the right players. How can you not see Corey Kiner ought to take the first snap Saturday night? Nothing against TDP. You know, one of the things that we had in the opening, you had a run with TDP. He didn't look like the same player because he's not. He's had a foot injury, and he is not the same ball player right now because of injuries. Oh, by the way, we feel like Armani Goodwin, 22, is going to get a few more reps, so maybe they'll be able to run it. But I got to tell you something, folks. Kentucky is pretty darn good at the line of scrimmage, and if they win that battle, you don't have to be sexy. Just remember this name, Rodriguez, because he's going to run. I'm going to make the prediction right now. He runs for over 100 yards Saturday night for the Kentucky Wildcats.
Look, a lot of people were in a bad mood over the weekend. LSU and the Saints lost. Coach O had his press conference on Monday. Usually they go about 25, 30 minutes long. This one's only about 10 minutes. And there was some talk after the press conference saying, Coach O got mad, stormed off the set, ended the press conference early. Not quite what happened. There was a little miscommunication with some of the questions that had been queued. Shea Dixon was supposed to be called. He didn't want to ask a question. He wasn't prepared. On his podcast, he said he was actually eating lunch. He wasn't dressed. He wasn't going to ask a question for the press conference. So he didn't ask a question. The cue never went down. Coach O was standing there like, okay, guys, any more? And then he said, okay, well, then that's it. Have a nice day. Go Tigers. I want to let you guys hear from the head coach. Here is Ed Orgeron in his Monday weekly press conference talking about the Auburn game and getting you ready for the Kentucky Wildcats. Here is Coach O.
All right, guys, so we had a great meeting this morning, our staff, Tell the Truth Monday. I want to say this first. Ultimately, I'm responsible for the performance of this team. I've always been responsible, and I always will be. First and foremost, I want to get that point across today. Things that we need to fix on offense, pre-snap process. Our run game, we need to be more physical. Red zone, we're very disappointed. We were very disappointed in our performance in the red zone. And third down. On defense, obviously the containment of the quarterback, rush lanes, and how to tackle quarterback. Though we had some tremendous pressure on him, but give him credit, he made some tremendous plays. And also, when we're chasing the quarterback, we have to stay in coverage. We call it plaster. We need to work on that. We can't get out of coverage. Eye discipline on a man-to-man and third down. But overall, I thought we had a great meeting with our staff this morning. We have a great meeting with our team today. There's some tremendous leaders on this team. On offense, Keyshawn Butte is doing a great job of leading us. On defense, Damone Clark is playing outstanding, great leader. We're going to count on those guys this week. On to Kentucky, 5-0. Coach Stoops has done a tremendous job with his team. On offense, they're pro style, 29 points per game. They have the leading rusher. They have the leading receiver in the SEC. They have a great run game. Chris Rodriguez, an outstanding runner. Wendell Robinson is very dangerous. Levi is a very capable passer that operates very well in their offense. On defense, they're very stout with a 3-4. They play great technique. They had an outstanding game against Florida. Only 16 points allowed per game, 104 yards rushing, very stout. Got some tremendous players on that team. It's going to be a tremendous challenge for us. It'll be a great challenge to go on the road, taking on a 5-0 team. I'm looking forward to meeting our team today and have a tremendous practice. Any questions?
Hey, Coach, good morning.
Morning.
Jay Peets, real bright guy, highly recommended. His first time being an offensive coordinator. During your preseason games and whatnot, did you guys really practice calling in plays and everything?
Sure.
And did you feel like you had a good grasp on that?
Yeah, we practiced calling in plays. In fact, because we had two new coordinators, our team periods, most of our team periods were scripted. But in camp, we went one team period scripted, one team period not. We let them call plays. We worked on taking the field with 25 seconds left. That's called in the winning edge. So most of those things have been worked on.
It's more challenging during a game with the crowd noise and the chaos.
I'm sure it is. You know, Jake's trying to do a tremendous job. I believe in him. There's just a couple of things that we got to get fixed.
Hey, Coach, talking to Max after the game on Saturday, he was very frustrated, obviously, as he should be. I'm just wondering, with him, the whole offense, the team, where's the trust and the faith level for Jake Peets as a play caller?
Well, you know, here's the thing. I got to take the responsibility for that. I got to talk to the team, talk to the offense, and I'll continue to talk to them on the things that we have to get fixed. There are some things that are very fixable, and we just need to settle down. Mostly just call the play and let it go, and not try to change the play. I think that's where we're getting into most of our problems. I think it's not that the guys are not working. It's not that they're not trying. I think they're trying a little too hard. So we need to simplify what we're doing on offense and let our players play.
Is the play that's coming down from the top, is it too complicated, or is Max trying to do too much with that play with regards to the situation?
No, I think this. First of all, when obviously the play clock, when we do it, we need to give them enough time. And the times that we had to call timeout, there wasn't enough time. So we shouldn't have tried to change the play because of the time. And I'm going to say this again. I'm full of responsibility for that. I want to make that clear, okay? And we're going to get that fixed.
Hey, Ed Daniels in New Orleans. Coach, why do you think, and this is the second time you said it, as respectfully as I can, why do you think it's necessary for you to say that you're responsible? What point
I just think it's clear that when things don't go wrong, obviously I get asked questions and maybe they may sound like I'm trying to point the finger or something like that. And as you know me, Ed, and everybody knows me on there, that's not me. I'm going to take full responsibility for everything that happens in this program, and that's just the way it's going to be.
Thank you.
Hey, Coach. This is Glenn West with LSU Country. Obviously there's been a lot that's been put on the ground game, and just how that's just haven't been able to get up and going. I mean, just how much of that was the talk with you and the coordinators and the offensive team there, just to try to figure out some ways to get that going?
Yeah, first of all, we need to be committed to it. And I think that we need to make a recommitment to calling the run plays that we practice. And sometimes we are, sometimes we're not. And we need to make a couple adjustments on the things that we do, and maybe some different sets, some different formations to help us be more aggressive and attack the line of scrimmage. And we're not doing that well. Hopefully we can get that done this week.
Hey, Ed, it looked like there was quite a bit of rotation defensively, especially maybe in the secondary. Was that something that was how you mentioned after the Mississippi State game that y'all needed to rotate more? Was that the reason that y'all were doing that?
Yeah, I think some of it was, but some of the guys were getting hurt. And we lost a lot of guys with some minor injuries. They had to get out for a couple of snaps. Some of them got back in, and some of them just have a couple of injuries that they're probably going to be out today or tomorrow. And hopefully they can play this week.
Hey, Coach, two questions. The first, going back to the offense, we've asked you like 5,000 questions about it already, but how much simpler can you make this, and what's the first step really, which realistically a change in the play calling?
Well, first of all is call the play and run it. We have a thing that we call warp, where we go really fast, and we were doing that for a while, and we're really having success. The trouble is when we get to try to be a little too complicated, try to change the play, try to get a perfect play. We call that a look over, get a perfect play for the perfect defense, and that's when we've been getting in trouble. So we need to simplify those things, either quit doing it or do a better job of doing it.
And obviously, in a game like that, where you're getting that much pressure pretty consistently, but they were getting away. Is that you look at that as more just an outlier that Nix was getting outside, or do you think that's an actual issue that you need to kind of focus on?
Well, I think it's an issue. I think it's an issue of angles. With the defensive linemen, which I help coach, and so I'm responsible of heading for the upfield shoulder. And a lot of times we did not do that. A lot of times we didn't take the proper angles on him. But look, you gotta give him credit, man. He played the lights out. And to have a quarterback make us miss that many tackles, I think that's the first time I've seen that as a coach, and I've been coaching for a long time. So give him credit. He played with extra effort.
Hey, Coach, offensive question again, but the running game, talk about not calling it as much. Why wasn't it called as much when you had the lead?
Say it again now.
Why weren't there as many run plays called while you had the lead?
Yeah, I think that, in fact, I know we were working on our first down passing game. It worked very well. I think our guys were spot on in the first half. The big play to Keyshawn, all the run passes and the short passing game really helped us. They made some adjustments. They overloaded. In fact, they dropped 9 and rushed only 2. That's a situation where we must and will run the football. When they're dropping 8 and rushing only 3, we need to find a way to run the football. So, I think in certain situations we can pass the football. In certain situations we need to learn how to run the football.
Hey, Coach, this is Josh Sitterly with Louisiana Ground Football. It seems continuity has been an issue on the O-line all season. Coming into the game, the starting O-line has only played 9 plays together. It seemed to show up against Auburn this week. Is that something that you guys are obviously addressing? Is that something that you've seen in practice this week?
Well, we started seeing it in camp. We didn't have our O-line, starting O-line. It was mixed all the time, and the continuity wasn't there. I think Coach Davis is doing a tremendous job. Listen, we lost our offensive line coach. This is not an excuse. It's a fact, okay, in the middle of the summer. And he comes in, and he's a great coach. But there's a different style. There's some different techniques. Guys are veteran players. They got to get used to that. And there's a combination of our guys not being out there all the time, and then another combination of just being committed to the run game, being very physical, and we're going to run the football, and this is what we're going to do. So all those things come into factor of why we're not running the ball very well. Again, let me say this again. That is totally my responsibility.
Hey, Ed, is there anything you can do? Another offensive question. I know you've got a lot of them. Is there anything you can do to bring someone into the press box maybe to help Jake? Can Steve Ensminger be a help?
Yeah.
Let's find a play and let's stick to it, that kind of thing?
Yeah, that's a thought. That's a thought, and that has been considered. I think Steve is enjoying his retirement, and he does come. He does come as a consultant, and maybe he will come in the box. Might be something I'll talk to him about. Good idea. Is that it? Good shape? All right, hope you guys have a good day. Go Tigers.
All right, back here on Tigers Roar. Certainly a strange ending to a press conference from Ed Orgeron. Like I said, it usually goes 24, 25, maybe even 30 minutes long. This one was just over 10 and a half minutes. You heard at the end, Coach O was expecting more questions. I mean, a game against Auburn, you lose the first time Auburn beats you at home since 1999. Coach O was expecting more questions. He seemed in a good mood, though. I mean, he was fielding all the questions, took a lot of responsibility for the actions of his ball club and the coaching staff, which is a good sign for LSU fans. But strange ending. But nothing like it was made out to be on the internet and in the message boards. Yeah. Coach O didn't storm off and end it early because he was upset about a question from a certain reporter or anything like that.
Well, here's what happened, folks, because I talked to Jacques and a couple other guys that were on the call at the time, and because of the pandemic, we're still doing Zoom for the most part. Now, if this had been in the building where they used to have them, it certainly would have not gone down like that. But the way it is you get in line and you are muted until they buzz in and say, you're up, go. Once they do that, they went to a guy and he didn't unmute. Then they went to another guy and he had technical issues. Then you mentioned with Shea, and he couldn't get his question in. So at that point, you're talking about a minute and a half. Coach O thought they were going, and the LSU SID assistant was not able to stop him from leaving. But it is the shortest. We followed these things. These things used to be on my show many, many years ago when Saban was the coach. Of course, they've grown in incredible interest with social media and everything. But lo and behold, that's by far the shortest, 10.5. Now, Curly, you talk about funny. Curly would have the old legal pad, and I'm not lying, JP. He would have 6 to 7 pages written out in longhand. And he'd go like 3rd and 10, 24. We wanted to pass the ball there. We got pressure from the left. He would read all of this stuff to avoid taking questions. There are a lot of questions right now, and the best answer that you're going to see is if LSU can beat Kentucky Saturday night. That answers most of the questions.
LSU is 8-7 since 2019, the dream season. You mentioned the honeymoon period, and when you win a national championship, you have the best season in college football history. You have the Heisman winner, the Thor. I mean, you name it, LSU won in 2019. And just the state of the program right now with all the question marks around the coaching staff and the run game. I mean, the staple of all those phenomenal LSU teams, they would smash you in the mouth on both sides of the line of scrimmage and run the ball down your throat. And then Joe Burrow came in and Joe Brady and threw the ball all around. And everybody was like, holy cow, like, what kind of brand of offense is this? Well, now we've gone way too far on the other side of the spectrum. Now LSU's not calling run plays until their 4th possession in the 4th quarter with a lead. Can't drain the clock at all. 3 possessions in the 4th quarter, all passes, 3 and out, and then they had like a 7-play drive, and then they punted, and then another 3 and out. 5-14, I think, was a total run time of those 3 possessions in the 4th quarter. And that's a game you were winning. That's just not good football, Budman.
Well, the other thing, and of course it's changed so much, I have talked to a lot of former players that have been in the midst of a coaching change, with DiNardo at the end, with Les at the end, obviously with Curly at the end. And it is not fun because nowadays with social media, you're seeing and you're hearing more than ever before. And let us all make one thing perfectly clear. And our buddy Tim Brando, who's a Hall of Famer and has had a hell of a career, sent out a message this week, and it was not well received. And it was basically something to the effect of, well, Coach O is getting more pressure because he is one of us, a Louisianan. That's the total opposite.
Right.
He got more adulation. We were proud of him. Everybody said, look, you can be a resilient Louisiana that's failed before, gets a 2nd and 3rd chance and be successful. People want to pull for Coach O. But you know what the difference is, Timmy B? When you're doing good, you get cologne and flowers and perfume. And when you're doing bad and it stinks, you get clothespins. Because people in Louisiana know about football. And it's part of our culture, our religion, our lifestyle. And trust me, when you watch 20 games on Saturday and Friday night and Thursday night and all these other times along with the pros, they're just not getting it done from a coaching standpoint. So now the question is this: can those players find a leadership where they bond together and say, this is us against the world, let's get really together and go out there and play hard as can be and come back home with a victory? I don't know if they've got it. We're going to find out about the leadership of this football team this weekend.
We have a whole lot more here on Tigers Roar. We'll come back into this break. Let's hear from one of the players from LSU. Of course, we have Mike Scarborough from TigerBait.com coming on later in the program, talking all about recruiting, LSU football, and a whole lot more. Before we take a quick break, I want to remind you guys, check us out on YouTube, youtube.com/Pelican Broadcasting, a great way to keep up with everything we do here at the Pelican. Of course, you have all Tigers Roar archives, so you can watch it whenever you feel like. We also have the Clarence Bugg Show, the Roger Kadar Show, Rocket Right, and we also started Overtime with Athletic Director Roman Banks from Southern University. That's also up on YouTube, so go check it out. Once again, youtube.com/Pelican Broadcasting. He's the Bud Man. I'm JP, and you're watching Tigers Roar.
Creel Tree Service is a licensed and insured tree service providing tree and stump removal, topping, trimming, cabling, pruning, and fertilizing. We have free stump removal with takedowns, free estimates, affordable rates, and senior citizens discounts. Call 774-TREE. That's 774-8733. Get your yard ready for the warmer weather. If it deals with a tree, call me, Creel Tree Service, 774-8733. That's 774-TREE.
Hi, I'm Hurricane Betsy Barnes.
And I'm Dr. Kay Siller with the Rocket Right Show.
We are two busy blondes on the go showing off life in Louisiana.
Watch us on Pelican Sports Network.
And Talk 107.3 FM. Check local listings for times.
Hello, guys. It's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Go where summer leads you in an award-winning Mazda CUV. Find yours during Mazda's season of discovery.
Call, click, or come by and discover your new Mazda today at Baton Rouge's Mazda dealer. Team Mazda on Airline.
Caught spiders. Premier Pest Services.
I've seen a lot of things during my life, more bad things than good. I've lived in a lot of places, but never a home. I don't think anybody cares about me anymore. And now, I'm tired. Signed, Brian, age 11.
Abused and neglected children in East Baton Rouge Parish are in dire need of CASA volunteers. Please call 379-8598 today. Change a life of hurt into a life of hope.
Hello. Hola. Ni hao.
Experience what the Baton Rouge International School can offer your children. Now welcoming displaced students for short and long-term stability.
Continue here on Tigers Roar. Before the last break, we talked a little about Tim Brando and his comments about Ed Ogeron and how he's received because he's one of us. He's a Louisianian on the biggest stage in college football. Just a little point to that story. In 64 games, okay, Nick Saban was 48-16. His record as the LSU head coach. Do you know what Ed Ogeron's record is in 64 games?
It is very close to that.
Exactly the same, 48-16.
But there's a difference because we live in a society, JP, of what have you done for me lately? And unfortunate, as I said, look, the old days, man, a national championship, he's got 3 or 4 years. But as we know with COVID and the pandemic, all of our lives were changed appreciably. We also know that those guys had an excuse to be heavy and out of shape and not prepared. This year, there's no excuse. So, if I'm head-hunting, I'm not happy with Tommy Moffitt and the condition of the team. I'm not happy with the play calling on offense and defense. I'm not happy with the fact that they got to call timeouts because they can't get the play in on time. I'm not happy with the fact that Corey Kiner is averaging 5.2 yards per carry and can't get reps. Do I need to go on?
Tell us how you really feel.
And I'm not happy that those guys couldn't tackle Bo Nix, and they were this close, including our next guest, Ali Gay. That's got to be frustrating. But the guy looked like Johnny Manziel last Saturday night in Tiger Stadium.
That's right. Ali Gay had 4 total tackles, 3 solos. He also had a pass deflection. Want to let you guys hear from the player himself. Here is number 11, senior defensive end, Ali Gay, here on Tigers Roar.
I mean, what happened, lost a game, a tough one. Wanted to get the win, but after every loss, you got to move on to the next. You can't dwell on the past. You got to get ready for the next one because every week is a new game. So you got to get ready. Get back to practice and reset.
Yeah, hey Ali, this is Glenn West, LSU Country. I mean, the defense played pretty well. I mean, outside of just that one area, just trying to get Bo Nix to the ground last weekend. I mean, you guys were tackling really well and seemed to be pretty good in coverage as well. I mean, just how disappointing is it just that one factor really played such a heavy part in that loss and kind of the focus, I guess, getting that corrected this week?
I mean, one of the biggest things was, trying to tackle him. That was really a big thing. He was, maneuvering, just, going, all over the place, and we couldn't take him down. So I guess one of the biggest emphasis this week is, working on tackling better and, trying to take him down. I mean, we were trying to do everything we could. I know one of the parts, I can tackle. I need to do better with that, tackling better, and finishing on plays. And that's one of the things I struggle with on that game. But moving forward this week, that's got to be the emphasis. Tackling better and finishing on plays, basically. But I mean, the mood around the team is, moving forward. We're not really thinking too much about the past. What happened. Can't really do nothing about the past. So all we can do is focus on the future and be better.
Hey, Ollie. Coach O was telling us yesterday that he was looking forward to meeting you and your teammates yesterday before hitting on the practice field. Kind of, what was the message he conveyed to y'all as you get ready to go to Kentucky this week?
It was just we did okay job. We didn't do too bad. We just know that it's a lot of things to fix and a lot of things to work on. So like I said, can't really beat ourselves up too much because we got a game to focus on this week. So we gotta work on game planning. Play Kentucky and doing what we can to because they're a good team, undefeated right now. So we got to focus on them. Focus right now around the team is Kentucky and not Auburn. So.
Obviously, a big thing kind of coming into the year for you guys is how you have two first-year coordinators on both sides of the ball. It seems like defensively, y'all have gotten better throughout the year. How much do you think Coach Jones has grown as a defensive coordinator with more experience?
I feel like he's starting to settle in. As a defense, we're starting to settle in too, and just really be better as with our plays and executing better. So I feel like overall we're all settling in the defense, and we're going to be able to start to do more things defensively. So I say pretty much all around we're all settling in with the defense.
Allie, to that point, can you just describe the progression of this defense as a unit from game one to now, especially these last two? It seems like there's less thinking and more reacting, even when like the Bo Nix issues, even though you had issues tackling it was just still a relentless pursuit, and you guys just seem more confident, even when you don't get the desired results you want. I
mean, from game one to now, I say like we're all getting, we're all starting to get it, we're all putting the pieces together, and I say like as a defense, we're hungry. It don't matter, win or lose, like. Our job is to go out there and stop the offense, whoever we play, no matter who, And from game to game, we learn what we got to do better because we're never going to be perfect. Every game it's a learning experience. You're going to take what you did last game and moving on to the next game. So it's like it's a nonstop thing. The train keeps going. You got to keep moving with it. So. You gotta learn what you take from last game. Since UCLA, that was a bad start to the season, but we started to pick it up. Even though we lost, to Auburn, there was still some good things. It wasn't all bad, but we got to learn from that and moving on to the next game.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about having to constantly improve. What do you see as sort of the next steps for this defense in your progression?
I say just being just like holding teams to 0 points, I guess, like not letting them score the ball as much, not letting them pass or run the ball. We did a good job with that with Auburn. Stopping the run. We just didn't game plan other areas that we. I feel like for us, we did a good job stopping the run, and we just could have done a better job in some other areas. But I say, moving on to the next game, we just got to put the pieces all together and be better.
And then with it seems like a really big player the last 2 weeks has been Cordell Flott. Just what do you think has sort of been the key to him kind of breaking out this season for y'all in the secondary?
I know he's hungry. He has a lot to prove, and we got 7 more games left. A lot of football to play. So I feel like we got him, and we got a lot of other players, coming to step up, in the next few games. So I'm really happy that he's playing the way he's playing, and I can't wait to see how much better he gets, throughout the season.
Yeah, hey, Ollie, you mentioned, some of the improvements you guys have made in the run defense over the last couple weeks. I mean, you guys are facing, the leading rusher right now in the conference this week against Kentucky. Just what are you seeing from him on film and just kind of the approach this weekend with Kentucky as a defensive line is concerned?
I mean, we know he's a hard runner. Like you said, he's leading the country in rushing. But our mentality every game is stop the run. And like I said before, you got to stop the run and have some fun. But that's going to be the mentality going towards this game. And stopping the run is always going to be the number one thing that we try to do in every game we play. It doesn't matter who we play. No matter how good you are. Like our mentality and goal is always going to be to stop the run.
Thanks, Ollie.
Appreciate y'all.
That was senior defensive end for the LSU Tigers, Ali Gay, getting prepped for the Kentucky Wildcats in Lexington. LSU hasn't played there since 2007. That might be a year you remember because LSU lost a triple overtime game there. Went on to win the national championship. I don't think LSU's going to win a national title this year, but hopefully have better result in Lexington. Bud, man, we mentioned how Kentucky likes to play. They're physical on both sides of the line of scrimmage, like to run the ball. What does LSU have to do defensively to keep this offense in the game?
Yeah, first of all, let's give a shout out to some of our loyal folks over here at the restaurant. Jack was an all-state football player in his younger days, and Janet, his beautiful wife, was the homecoming queen, and they're over here at Old School Barbecue enjoying some of this great smoked barbecue, brisket, ribs, the whole 9 yards. Once again, come on over here and see us at 10655 Coursey Boulevard. Well, first of all, you got to tackle and wrap up. I've watched this Rodriguez kid, and he really runs downhill, and his pad level is going to be low. So the first thing you got to do is get your pad level down. Jack will tell you, when you hit somebody on defense, you got to use your legs, wrap up, explode, because if you hit high and you don't use the lower part of your body, then they're going to push you for first down. So you got to tackle, you got to push their quarterback into some uncomfortable zones. And let's be honest, LSU only has 6 takeaways in 5 games. They've got to force some things. Jack was talking about the fact that he wished Durante Jones was a little more aggressive. Blitz, disguise, try to do some things. Man, I'd love to play poker with Ed Ogeron, Jake Peets, and Durante Jones right now, because there's no disguising. If they've got aces over 6s, they're probably going to tell you with their facial expressions, disguise, guys, please. You're playing for your job. Get after the bluegrass. And oh, by the way, Dara Rosenthal is a believer. Bluegrass is better than green grass.
We have a whole lot more here on Tigers Roar. We'll take a quick break, come back and visit with Mike Scarborough from TigerBait.com. Talk recruiting, talk the impact of this Auburn loss to LSU and the recruits of 2022. That and a whole lot more here on Tigers Roar. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back after this break.
Taste the feeling.
Hi, business owners. Phase 3. Woohoo! But do your customers know you're back? Well, that's where the Clarence Bugg Show and Pelican Broadcasting can help. Right now, we've got great rates on advertising packages to help you get the word out. Shoot me an email at bugsclarence@gmail.com. Or better yet, call me up. I'd love to talk with you. 225-485-6839. Let's get together and make Phase 3 the best it can possibly be.
Bellows Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent. Depend on us for service, for selection, for price. Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing. You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day. Bellows Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
Tremonti's has meat. Tremonti's has seafood. Tremonti's has much more. Tailgating and home gating platters. Huge wine and liquor selection. Beer and all the spices you need. Chairman Reserve and Wagyu meats. Ribeye rolls, shrimp rolls, kebabs. 20 flavors of sausage for the grill. Daily lunch specials and game processing. On-site catering also available. Good meat ain't cheap and cheap meat ain't good. Visit Tremonti's.com.
And we welcome you back. It is Wednesday night in the capital city of Baton Rouge. JP in the house. A good crowd coming in here, as we know that you can smell it as you're driving up. And JP, you have been a big fan of this smoked barbecue that's a little unlike anywhere else in town.
That's right. They cook it for a long time, low and slow. Just like it says, old school barbecue. The flavor really does speak for itself. The brisket, the ribs, the chicken, the sausage, it's all great. They make their own sides, of course, and those are incredible. Great atmosphere, great place to watch a game. Come check it out. Old School Barbecue Smokehouse, 10655 Coursey Boulevard.
Janet and Jack are having a family reunion at Old School Barbecue today with all of their friends having fun, and we are now joined by Mike Scarborough. He is, of course, a guy that's been doing it for a long time with us on radio, on TV, on YouTube, Facebook. We're doing Facebook Live tonight at 8 o'clock. And, Mike, let's get right into it. Pretty much a crazy week after the loss to Auburn, first time since 1999. Give us the scuttlebutt and what your site's all buzzing about and what you think the ramifications of that loss will be in the recruiting game.
Well, it's just what we expected. Just going off our page views, going off our YouTube views, going off the conversations on our Tiger Den Premium message board and all around the internet. It's when you lose to Auburn at home and you give them their first win in Tiger Stadium this century, it's very hard to find LSU fans and social media who are going to the mat defending Ed Orgeron, and that's not a good place to be for Ed Orgeron. You've got Kentucky on tap now up in Lexington. They're a favorite.
I think we have a technical difficulty with the signal. We'll try to get Mike back hooked up here on Tigers Roar. Look, Bob, man, this game was supposed to
hang him up?
Yeah, we'll try to get him back.
All right. Yeah, we had this last week.
Something with Mike's cell phone. I don't know what he's doing.
I'm not sure what's going on, but we'll dial him back up. And he was talking about that. What emotions did you have? Number one, I kind of felt it when they were kicking all those field goals. You can sit there, and whether you're in the stadium or whether you're watching it and getting ready to do post-game, you can just see when you settle for 4 field goals. Now, believe it or not, folks, LSU is a perfect 14 of 14 in the red zone this year.
Only one of 9 teams nationally.
That's right. And they were 8 for 10 going into the game, scoring touchdowns. Well, now they are 9 for 14 because, of course, they had 4 field goals and only 1 touchdown. So bottom line is that you got to score touchdowns. Kentucky didn't do a lot offensively. They're not the kind of team that you look at and say, wow, man, this guy's that great. They're well coached. They're fundamentally sound. And you know what? They believe in their system right now. And I think that's something that is going to get challenged this week as to when are these players going to quit believing that the coaches know what the game plan is to get them the W. And look, I don't have any insight. You don't have any inside info. But you saw what happened last year. If this thing goes bad, they start to go, and whether it's the transfer portal, whether it's the opt-out or whatever, it's a very crucial time to stay together. They like to say block out the noise, but we know this is crucial. I want to believe that they can find a way to win, but I don't like the fact when I did all the stats that they are having problems conditioning in the fourth quarter. You see them getting tired, and then making adjustments after halftime. JP, UCLA cut them up. So did Auburn. These guys have got to make better adjustments at halftime.
We're trying to get Mike Scarborough from TigerBait.com back on the phone. Quick break. Come back and join us. This is Tigers Roar.
Sometimes life is wonderful, and sometimes it's not. Cherish the good, but always be prepared for life's challenges. At Private Healthcare, we provide the peace of mind you deserve. With Private Healthcare, you'll get the coverage you want and healthcare you need. If your employer doesn't supply healthcare coverage and you don't qualify for Medicare or Medicaid, you need to give us a call right now. Private healthcare is private health insurance for ages 65 and under with medical, dental, vision, and even prescription coverage. When life comes at you unexpectedly, you need to be ready, and health insurance is your financial safety net. Health insurance has never been so easy and affordable. If you're looking for health coverage at the best price and your annual household income is $35,000 or more, call the number on the screen now and speak with a live healthcare consultant. Don't wait. Get the coverage you need now.
Hello, guys. It's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystoneCountryClub.com.
They said I could find you here. Why are you fishing? Our company's got to ship out 2 full color brochures and 20 color copies. You're killing me.
It's done. Designed, printed, packaged, and shipped.
How?
You just got to know the right people. Baker Printing, the printing people.
How come you get to fish in this private lake?
Like I said, you just got to know the right people. You can know the right people too.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Hello. Hola. 你好.
Experience what the Baton Rouge International School can offer your children. Now welcoming displaced students for short and long-term stability.
We continue on Tigers Roar. Some technical difficulties. Now we got Mike Scarborough back on the phone. Mike, appreciate you spending some time with us here on Tigers Roar. This past Saturday is supposed to be a showcase game for LSU. Multiple 5 stars, kids flying in from all over the country. Give us an overview of what's going on with recruiting, how that game is going to impact recruits, and where we are sitting here October 6th.
Well, I think what's happening now is because of where things are and all the scuttlebutt and what everybody's saying, locally, regionally, nationally about Coach Orgeron's future, I think it kind of puts recruiting a bit on hold. And look, I think multiple of the kids locally were taking a wait-and-see approach as far as what was going to happen. And so that really hasn't changed. But I think, reaching out to recruits and asking them what was their thoughts on the Auburn game, they're all going to say the same thing. They're going to have a good time. But most of the kids are now probably going to be in a posture of, well, is he going to survive? Is he going to be here? Who's going to coach my position? So I think you're going to have a lot of kids wait until December and to see what shakes out here.
Yeah, Mike, it's interesting. We know that LSU's sitting at 15 verbals. Earl Little Jr. was supposed to come in on an official. He did not. You still had a good atmosphere. I had 3 or 4 people, JP and Mike, text me. The lower bowl was full and ready to go. It was loud. There was excellent atmosphere. And then as the game started to slip away with settling for field goals instead of touchdowns, inexplicably, people started leaving at halftime. And as the game got later and later, you had more people. Mike, you were there, but you had to leave to do post-game with Preston Guy. What did you think of the crowd? Is it back, or is it still a struggle to get back to the heydays of a sold-out Tiger Stadium where that home crowd is worth 4 or 5 or 6 points for LSU?
I think it was all that, the selling for the field goals, the running game. There's a little bit of exhaustion and aggravation with the way LSU was performing. And when it started to thin out, I think now don't forget you had an 8 o'clock kickoff too, so it was getting late. And so I think people are ready to go home.
Yeah, and JP, I've had a name for this. 11 o'clock in the morning, I text Mike. On Sunday, I said, boy, this would be the ultimate show of disrespect if LSU's got to play Florida. I call it the bourbon and Cheerios game. You put bourbon in your Cheerios because everybody likes to drink and you're eating cereal. Mike, I wouldn't imagine now. I don't know if they had a big visit schedule lined up for Florida anyway, but I don't know if I'd want to have a bunch of recruits coming in for an 11 o'clock start the way things are right now.
No. And it'll be very interesting to see what's going to be playing out here in the next couple of weeks. I think one thing about this Kentucky game is they're coming off that big win in Florida, getting fined $250,000 for fans rushing the field. Is there any sort of residual hangover from that for them? And is it maybe a good thing for the LSU players and team to get out of town and not have all those distractions and it'd be a us them versus the world type of mentality, and we'll see what happens.
Mike, we all know LSU needs to recruit the big guys up front. It all starts in the trenches. Guys like Will Campbell, Emory Jones. If nothing else, they have to look at this Auburn game and think, wow, there's opportunity for early playing time if I go into this offensive line, because, they're struggling right now.
Yeah, and it's one of those deals, too, where if you go and look at the 18 and 19 classes and you say what's there, what's left, and you're going line by line, that really tells the story as to why LSU's struggling, and particularly on the offensive line. And so that's why getting this strong offensive line class done and sealed and have them actually there next year, and then using this new NCAA +7 to get even more, if you can get a couple very good transfers that can play at this level, you can get healthy in a real hurry. And so we'll see.
Hey,
I keep saying we'll see because there's so many things that dominoes that we're waiting to see to fall as to what the storyline's actually going to be moving forward with LSU football.
Hey, I know you've been close to Jamie Walker Howard all through his recruiting cycle. If you could give us an update on his situation, Of course, he got hurt in a game last week, and a lot of people showed concern. But you gave me some good news about Walker today.
Oh yeah, no, he broke his fibula, but it was a perfect break. It does require surgery, no pins. It's set up perfectly to heal, and there's even a scenario where he could actually come back and play towards the end of the season and into the playoffs. So, a real scenario. Wow. So, that's very much a positive.
You know, this is just me talking out loud here, but I got to tell you, Emory Jones and Walker Howard, obviously very close with Will Campbell. I think Will Campbell and Emory Jones would be getting a look right now to play because, Mike, I think the biggest disappointment after winning the Joe Moore Award as the best O-line in 2019, and of course we know a lot of that was Joe Burrow making plays with his feet. Let's not kid anybody. But Deculus and all those guys that have been there, including Chase and Hines, Cam Wire's got tender knees. Now you got Bradford, who's overweight. You got Hines, who's overweight. Do you think guys like Emory Jones and Will Campbell are going to stick regardless of the coaching situation?
Yeah, I do, but we're going to see. Look, again, I don't know how this is going to play out. You know, we could very well have a very clear understanding of how it's going to play out after Saturday night.
Right. I mean, I agree, Mike. A lot of talk out there that, this is do or die time for Coach Ed Orgeron and his staff. And if there is a lot of turnover, like you mentioned, who's going to be the position coaches, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator? LSU's got a lot of dead money out there, but I don't think we think that Scott Woodward isn't afraid to pull the trigger when he thinks it's time to go. Mike, moving forward, looking to Kentucky, we know they're physical at the line of scrimmage, both offensive and defensive side of the ball. They like to run the football. By the way, the Tigers will be out Derek Stingley Jr. and Major Burns this Saturday, so some holes in the secondary. But what does this defense have to do? I asked Budman at this early in the program.
I tell you what, I like what I've seen out of LSU defensive backs, despite not having Stingley.
Right.
But it's not like they've been awful. The defense has played very well. Durante Jones has gotten better each and every week. That defensive line is rotating guys. That's going to be one of the things to watch is how this defensive front, up against that Kentucky offensive line and their desire to run the football, how well they perform.
Yeah.
Well, Jack is an all-state defensive back that had a heyday and married his sweetheart homecoming queen, Miss Janet, and he was talking about the fact that they need to wrap up better when we're talking defense. Mike, no disrespect in disagreeing with you, but they're giving up 46% conversion on third down, the defense, and are also allowing the team, the opponents, to have the football 3 more minutes per game than LSU, and only 6 takeaways in 5 games. I think I expected some better stats, my man.
Yeah.
They're trying, but they're not out coaching anybody on defense. I mean, when's the last time you saw them disguise and send a safety blitz or a corner blitz or a linebacker blitz and get a sack and a big play? I don't even remember that hardly happening in the last couple of games.
I tell you what, if you make one of those field goals a touchdown, I'm very content with the defense. I mean, sometimes that giveaway takeaway deal, that's just you never know from one year to the next whether you're going to be up +2 or down 5, or sometimes it's almost like luck whether you get that or not. But I tend to think had Stingley been playing in every game, he'd have a couple of interceptions. But I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm okay with the defensive play calls. I mean, yeah, it's been a little vanilla for a lot of people's taste, but, I mean, the communication's better from last year. There's not as many blown assignments in the secondary, not as many big plays. I think Durante Jones has kind of limited that. And yeah, I mean, I get you take one step at a time. A very green play caller on the defense side of football, not blitzing enough for a lot of people's taste. But I have far less of a problem with the defensive play call than I do the offensive play call.
Yeah, and no doubt about it. And Kentucky is not a bunch of frills. They're not a sexy offensive team or an overall football team. But, Mike, they're fundamentally sound. They're good at the line of scrimmage. And right now, they are the T and the C, what we talk about. They trust their coaches, and they're communicating. And that's the $64 million question. Which LSU team is going to go in there, and are those players still buying in after they gave that game away? Let's just call it the way it is. That was one that they should have finished off with a W.
Yeah, we're going to find out because this is gut check time. You know, obviously Alabama and Georgia are heads above everybody else. You know, Kentucky's a hard football team. They play hard and they've got some talent. They're coached well. You're playing at their place. Florida's wounded like LSU, and they haven't met their expectations. So, you know, really, LSU needs to win both these football games.
All right, Mike, getting short on time, so before I let you go, real quick, tell us about TigerBait.com.
That's it, TigerBait.com. Check us out on YouTube, LSU Tigers on TigerBait. We get our newsletters going out once or twice a week, text alerts for our premium subscribers. And we're going to be extremely busy with everything that could be coming down the pike here with the football program. So you're going to want to be on board to get our text alerts for breaking news and everything else. So go to TigerBait.com and subscribe. We want to have you.
All right, man. Keep up the great work. We'll see you tonight on Facebook.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you, Mike.
JP, wrapping up, I did not mean to raise the blood pressure of some of our people in here, or my blood pressure, but, you know, when you care about something, we know how important it is for business and the overall, let's be honest, Baton Rouge and New Orleans are two different towns to live in.
Oh, yeah.
When the Tigers, the Jags, and the Saints win. Oh, by the way, that was a trifecta a couple of weeks ago. With the Jags being off, there were 0 wins between those three teams last weekend.
That's right. Tough weekend for LSU, Saints, and the Jags moving forward. Hopefully it gets a little bit better. Saints take on Washington this week. Of course, LSU goes to Kentucky. And Texas Southern will take on the Jaguars. That game will be in Houston. Not in Houston, in Arlington. So hopefully Jag Nation will travel well to that game, show some support for the Southern football team. We have about 30 seconds here on the program. I want to thank you guys for watching Tigers Roar. Quick reminder, check us out on YouTube, youtube.com/Pelican Broadcasting. While you're there, go ahead and hit subscribe on the page so you're notified every time we post something new here at the Pelican. Of course, you have all the Tigers Roars. You have Clarence Buggs Show, The Exiles, Rocket Right, The Roger Kadar Show, and Overtime with Athletic Director Roman Banks from Southern University. Check it all out. Once again, youtube.com/Pelican Broadcasting. Thanks for tuning in. You have been watching Tigers Roar.